All right, well, welcome back. Plan for this video, I'm going to take this off, and there's some awful sound deadener, something, insulation of some sort on the underside of it, which I'm going to assume is asbestos or some horrible thing from the 1930s that they thought was a good idea at the time. So I'm going to take the lid off, flip it over, grind all that out, which I'm going to have to open the door for. And that sucks because we're the frozen planet of Hoth right at the moment. And that's going to suck because it's going to get cold in here. Then, after I got that out, put the lid back on. What I'll do, probably tack that, make the cuts here, move this stuff back, see if I can tack it into place. Hope for the best. Hope you enjoy. Well, anyways, got that part done, which was terrible. Kind of figured it was going to suck, but that was way worse than I thought. That stuff was pretty tenacious on there, lots of scraping, lots of grinding, but we'll turn it over and get it back on the top of the car. Plan is for later. That's going to have, I'm just going to do some rust inhibitor and bed liner on the inside of that for sound deadening purposes. But for now, good enough. All right, so it's back on. What we're going to work on now is tacking the A-pillars. So you can see, here's the driver's side. Not a bad lineup. I think it's a pretty good starting point. And what I'm going to do is I'll tack both these sides. I got this side here, we've got it ground off a little bit. So you can see here on the A-pillar on the passenger side, lines up pretty good as well. I got some of the paint and that stuff removed from there. So I'll tack both of these A-pillars in place. I'll grind off a little bit more metal, and then after I've got that done, I'm gonna make these cuts. You can see I've got some lines marked out. I just put a center line on the B-pillar there, and I wanted to get my cut out this far because if you look at the radius of the B-pillar there, you can see it's still got some curve until I get to about, I think it was 9 inches from this center line. That's just arbitrary. There's nothing important about that particular distance, but I just wanted to get away from the part there where it starts curving on the B-pillar. And then I'm going to carry that line all the way back. And like I said before, I'm going to have to cut in between the B and C pillars as well, but that's getting ahead of myself. For now, we're just going to put a little zap in there, hold these A-pillars together. Just one couple tacks in there, hold the A-pillar there. I'll go to the other side, do the same thing. Well, some updates. First, Found some lead in there. I guess I should have expected that, but I wasn't ready for it. In any case, when I was over here grinding it off, it looked like it was clean metal. And then when I started welding, that was pretty ugly. So I took propane torch to it, just heated it up a little bit, melted a little bit of the lead, and used the body hammer. Looks like we're in pretty good position here. If I put my straight edge on there, not really any light underneath there. If I moved it along, I had to massage it a little bit, but there's really not anything underneath there. So I got this pretty well lined up as far as, amateur hour is considered. So in any case, I'm gonna continue working on tacking the A-pillars in. Once these are kind of tacked in and secured, we'll move on to cutting out the B-pillars. But anyways, that's where it stands right now. So here's where I'm leaving it tonight, as it is 11:30 East Coast time. Got to get up pretty early tomorrow. But in any case, here's the passenger side A-pillar after fiddling around with it. I did burn through in a bunch of spots, but I think ultimately turned out okay. I really don't have any zigzag or anything. It seems like it's pretty straight. If you stand back here, looks like there's not a dip in it too much. I think we got a pretty good position there. You probably saw me checking with the straight edge, and all I'm doing with that again, I'm kind of putting it up on there and making sure that we don't see too much of a gap or daylight behind it. And I'll finish that with the grinder, kind of make sure that get it nice and flat. I really kind of like the patina on the car, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Maybe try and simulate that, hand paint it, do something. But in any case, calling it for the night. So anyways, we'll get back after it tomorrow. One day closer. Hey, we're back. Well, what you might not notice is that it is most definitely not tomorrow. As I said at the end of that last clip, it's a couple days later, and yep, still dark out, and yep, still planet Hoth. Was actually 30 degrees below freezing today, so for anybody using metric, yeah, that was -20. Awesome. The chickens didn't even want to come out of the coop, so whatever, I guess. Welcome to winter. So getting back after it tonight. But in any case, what I'm going to do tonight, what I'm going to do is grind off a little bit of what I did on the A-pillar, and then hopefully get to this part here and cut a little bit of the B-pillar, cut that whole thing out. Planning to use the plasma cutter for that. I have had a couple comments about making a cut straight across the roof and just adding a filler in. Again, kind of the reason I'm not going to do that is because the difference between how far I have to move the B-pillar and how I have to move the C-pillar, it's different. So if it measured exactly 2 inches or 2 1/4, whatever that was, for both of them, yeah, that would be a good idea. But what it would then require is a 2-inch strip, filler strip up front, and like a 1-inch filler strip behind that, behind the B-pillar. That sounds like an awful lot more work. Again, I don't have an English wheel. I don't have anything to make those compound curves with. So I think all I'm going to do is cut the B-pillar out all the way, follow that line that I have on the roof all the way back to the rear window. And then I'll figure that part out later. I really have no idea what I'm going to do. I really think that I could do a couple of relief cuts, lean it forward, and put the window back in. I have also considered, cutting the whole thing out, moving it forward, putting a little catwalk in there. There's a whole bunch of different variety of options. Not committed to anything yet, so we're just going to see how things go. First things first, I'm going to cut the B-pillar out. Wish me luck. All right, so here's where we stand after a little bit of grinding. There's a old saying that the grinder in paint will make you the welder you ain't. But I think that looks pretty good for the A-pillar. Again, there's some lead already up here, so I've never even tried doing anything with lead, but I might just try filling that in, kind of make that look more nostalgic. But in any case, got the cut done there along the roof. So I guess, you know, the biggest lesson is, you know, I was basically wasting a lot of time and procrastinating because I didn't really want to make that cut. I was super nervous about it. But in any case, you can see what we got here. I just made the cut with the plasma cutter. You can see I just have it clamped a little bit up here with the vice grip, and that's the distance the B-pillar had to move back there. I think it was 2¼ inches. I just have this ratchet strap on there because there was a little tiny gap at the seam there. So I just pulled it down maybe 1/8 inch. But if you follow the cut along, I got that lined up all the way along the back here. That'll be okay to weld up. I can kind of manipulate this. There's a little gap that'll give me somewhere to fill in anyways. But the big problem, like I said, was going to be the C-pillar. So like I talked about, I could have put a filler strip in up front between the A and B pillars, but that would not have made up this distance here. Would have required a second filler all the way across up here. So I think that making this cut, and then I will split this here, and I'm going to move this piece back that way. That'll help this line up. I think that window back here is going to still look pretty sweet. This also moved this will move the roof back a little bit. So hopefully I can lean this in and tip this up, and we'll meet somewhere happy in the middle there. It'll make the back part of the roof here have a nice, a little better flow, I think, a little bit better aesthetic. So since we do have the rump here on the car, I think it'll look nice with the slope there. Still haven't thrown out the idea of cutting all the way along the belt line there and leaning it forward as opposed to making the relief cuts in this or that. Also, totally haven't eliminated eliminated the idea of cutting that off and just sliding it forward and tipping it forward and having a little tiny catwalk there, kind of from the back slope of the trunk lid to the roof rear window area. But in any case, yeah, not too bad. I think what I'll do, probably I'll tack this side in where it is, go cut the other side. Well, it's probably where I'm gonna have to leave it tonight. Unfortunately, again, dark and late. Got to be up for other stuff tomorrow. But in any case, did get the B-pillar lined up pretty well. Hopefully, next time I get back after it, I'll cut the C-pillar and move that back. If anyone has any ideas for that rear window, I sure would appreciate it. I've gone back and forth, and really I'm just kind of procrastinating on that, just like I did on this cut. Really just have to suck it up, make the cut, and figure out what you're doing as you go. So I'm pretty pleased with the way things are lining up so far. Really appreciate everybody watching. Hopefully you're enjoying the series here, and we'll get there eventually. We're just not quite halfway. Thanks again. See you next time.